Yeah, we can just start with questions. Whatever you guys want to talk about.
So I wanted to follow up on something from this weekend. We know everyone's got to improve on some things, and it sounded like there's something you want to see from Helena. What is it?
So I thought Elena, the last couple of games, just has been a little bit, I think, slow to start, and some of it's been the matchups, just situations. And some other people have played really well. So she didn't play a lot of minutes, but she's very important. She is one of the main players we have to get going again to win, like big time down the stretch, especially against teams like Stanford. She's our smartest player, and we really get a different look with her. So she just kind of had a funk for a couple of days. Have to get her out of it. I think she's in a better place now. Looked great in practice yesterday, but very important. We don't beat Stanford if Elena's not on point.
Do you want to see more from her shooting, more from what do you want to see from her?
I think probably a sense of urgency and coming in just a little bit more focused and ready, and and I think that she only had a few minutes here and there, and other people played really well. So, but she's not selfish. She understands how that is, and I think she only played like 3 minutes. So it's hard to do a whole lot in there, but just other people came in ready and made stuff happen. And it's hard. It's hard to play like 11 people. So even me playing 10 in these games is very difficult. And I think as these games get bigger, it's harder to play everybody. So the margin of error is very slim. So if you come in and make a mistake right away or you don't look ready, these are one possession games. So you might not get another opportunity, which is hard as a coach, but it's just we're trying to win games.
We saw something a little different from you as a coach, especially in the SC game. We saw really situational, right? That you were bringing in an offensive player versus a defensive player. In the past, we haven't seen that from you.
The bats didn't have to do that. Eric can stay on for both ends. I just think that it's just different strengths. I think, Lauren has really given us some great defense. Like Jade's given us some big shots. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I think Lauren's able to pressure the ball. And Jade, she's not as good in the full court. But then Jade's phenomenal in big shots when we need it. She makes them. We wouldn't have won most of these games if she doesn't hit those big shots down the stretch. So I think that's just kind of the situation. And Destiny is a very good hard matchup. So I think it's just beneficial going down the stretch to win games when it's so close. Earlier in the game, you're not going to do that because you can there's more time. So we did that a lot last game.
With you're going against another shot blocker and you just had Marshall.
Yeah.
From you, what do they need to do to be successful?
Like I always tell players, who cares if you get your shot blocked? Like, who cares? If you look at some of the best players in the country blocking shots, they average like 2 or 3 a game. And she happened to have 7 that game, which is a lot. But usually, typically, a couple. So the more you're more likely to get to the free throw line than you are to get blocked. And I love the fact that Kate got blocked probably 4 or 5 times. I mean, probably 5 out of the 7 was against Kate, but she didn't care. And at the end of the day, who cares? Because then if you're successful, you have 33, so you got blocked 5 times. Do you really care? It doesn't matter. And I think, teaching that to Shayna, you don't have to alter your shot. If you're a guard and someone's 6'3", 6'4", that's an athlete, blocks your shot, like, who cares? But, yeah, Cameron brings a good shot blocker. Also, I think they can get in foul trouble. I think very foul prone and just has to stay on the court because I think Stanford's very different with her on the court. So I think for us, not changing our shots, going in aggressively, knowing she's physical inside, I think that's just something they have to rise to the occasion. And I thought Kate is in foul trouble, and then Maya did a great job of that last game. So last game they had 2 really good athletes inside. So I think that they're ready, and I think that our posts are very confident right now. And our guards are doing a fabulous job, like a tremendous job of feeding the ball inside. And I think our team is getting better at feeding the hot hand. So if Kate's dominating, even if it's a play where we can get reversals, they're looking for it. We didn't do that a month ago. Jade's hot. She's shooting. They're like looking up the court for her. Maddie comes in. We're looking to get her shots. We weren't that intentional before. It was more like, okay, I want to score. Now it's like we're understanding that's the way to win. And so I think that the LA weekend, I think, can be a pivotal point for our program, hopefully.
What do you think are the keys for this game against Stanford?
Rebounding is a huge key. Hitting shots, because we know that they're going to allow us to shoot. I mean, they're going to play this far off of Shayna. They're going to give us shots early in the shot clock, so we need to get the shots that we want and attack how we want. We have to guard them. Rebounding is a huge key in transition defense. But if we rebound, we're going to be, we're going to be successful. I think those are two big things. And then just as Mary has to stay out of foul trouble, we need to play well. We need to run good offense because we're going to have open shots a lot. And I'd not get baited into taking the shots that they want us to take. And I think just stops and run, I think we can be really successful here at home. And it's going to be an interesting game because they're coming off a loss, and they typically have great responses. And Tara's a great coach. He's going to have great adjustments. The third team's going to be very motivated, I'm sure, because it's probably been hard practices. And then we are coming off of a high, winning in tough situations, winning differently, like away, so we're confident, so we have momentum. So one team has momentum, one team is getting refocused. So I think the first part of the game is really important to set the tone for the game.
You talked about rebounding, and that was their problem against Washington. I mean, Washington out-rebounded them.
Yeah, which is crazy because look at the personnel. Washington played a really good game.
What did you see in what they did?
I thought that they, ran long offense. Cameron Brink was in foul trouble early, and I think they made shots. And I think, if you can make shots, I think you could be successful because they're going to give you shots. And I think off on balls, if they're deep in the paint, it's hard to help off of down screens and stuff. So, but rebounding is the key. They're one of the best in the country. So I think if you rebound and make shots, I think you have a chance. And they really packed it in. It was interesting. Washington had multiple people around Cameron, and they left some people unguarded. So I'm sure they're going to make changes, and it's going to be hard. But I think they just played a really good game. And I think in this league, if you catch anybody on any given night, everybody's capable of winning. So our conference is really tough. So that's why there's no game. I'm looking at the next 6 games. There's no game that we're like, oh, we're going to win that. It's like they're all hard. So we have to be ready.
And I know you take it, you don't get too high, you don't get too low. That's always been your mantra.
Yeah.
Coming off of a weekend like this where your team exudes confidence, right? And then they right away have to play Stanford.
That's the best time to play it, though, versus coming off a loss. But actually, we've really responded well after losses. If you think like the Baylor, after Washington State, we responded well. So I don't know how we're going to be now. Now we're on a high, so are we going to have that same sense of urgency? So I'm curious. I'm going to see what we're made of, too. I thought we played a really good beginning, I'd say first half against Stanford, at Stanford, and then we kind of imploded, and they really hurt us in pick and roll situations. But I think we're better. I think they're better. And we are confident, but when I look back at the USC-UCLA game, we didn't play great. We made a lot of mistakes. Some people were atrocious defensively, but we found a way. So that shows me growth because we would have laid down the month prior and we would have just had an awful game. But we found a way, and we've been down 11, deficit against UCLA and against USC, battled back. 4 minutes we're down. That's hard on the road. So it shows us that we believe, and I think that they see the results of that. So I think that we're playing better. And now we're bringing along Maya and different players that we need. So I think you're going to see, it's going to be a good game. I'm excited. It's going to be a game that prepares us both for tournament games, too.
How much was that loss to Washington State? How much did it teach them that you don't give up?
Yeah, and you have to come out with a sense of urgency. I don't know how much it taught them. I hope a lot because we bounced back well. But I think you just can't come out just nonchalant and think you're just going to win the game because you're at home. So I hope it taught us that we have to have a sense of urgency. I mean, since then, we've had phenomenal third quarters. We haven't came out as flat. It wasn't perfect at USC and UCLA, but it wasn't like it was against Washington State. I think Washington State, the beginning of the game and the beginning of the third quarter was like a 19-2 run. So I don't think we're going to do stuff like that anymore. And they were challenged, but I think just understanding the consistency. Great teams are consistent. That's why we're not great yet because we're not consistent yet, but hopefully we're moving in that direction.
How important was it for Maya's growth to not only have a performance like that against USC, but also to feel the confidence that you had in her to put her in that big moment? I know as Mary was in foul trouble and then she fouled out, But you could have gone to any other situation.
gone small.
You could have gone small, and you stuck with Maya.
Well, because Maya earlier in the game, because usually with Maya, it's the question of she's young, so it's a defense. So what her challenges have been is coming in and defending and, just in boxing out and stuff like that. So I think she did a really good job. She protected the rim. She blocked some shots. She did so well. It was a couple mishaps, but it wasn't bad. And I think that earned her more playing time. And then, when she did well, she got more minutes because she was doing a good job. And then she was scoring inside. And for her to have the confidence to take that shot, that was great. And that was a big shot. So I think for her and for us, like us now, we have more confidence in leaving her in those big situations. And I think for her also. But, as a freshman, it's hard. You're used to playing 40 minutes a game or 30 minutes, and you're not pulled so much. Like, these games are tight. So if you come in and make a foul and an offensive rebound or give up 2 offensive rebounds back-to-back, you're going to get pulled because it's like we will lose the game. It can be a 10-0 run in a second, or in like 10 seconds. So, that's what players don't understand. They think, I just missed a shot and get taken out. No, it's usually not from a missed shot. I typically don't, I'd say 90% of the time, I don't take a player out from a missed shot because I never wanted to be that. I think players feel that way, but I don't because I feel like you need to get into it. If you are playing great defense, you miss a couple shots that are good shots, I'm not going to take you out. I usually take a player out from missed box out, miss sprinting back in transition, another missed box out, not the shot unless it's a bad shot because a bad shot's like a turnover. But if you're coming in and you're solid, playing good defense, taking open shots that are within the offense, you're not getting pulled out for that. So I think players feel that way because players believe what they want to believe. When they take a couple shots, I'm like, no, you didn't see, you missed 2 offensive rebounds, you're fouled. I think, those things are what I typically take out for, not for missing a shot. I try not to be that coach because I couldn't play like that as a player, But if you take a bad shot off of one pass, you're probably going to get pulled. And then you do something on defense that's bad, you're going to get pulled for sure. So, and starters have a longer leash. That's just because they've proven more. Like Elena, when she's in, she's like a starter. She's been here, 4 years. Shayna's been here years, so it's normal that a starter has a longer leash because they've proven more. They've been in those situations more. You kind of know what you're getting. And so, young players don't understand that. So, yeah.